The sullen glow of the setting sun spread over the sprawling city of Indianapolis, staining its steel and concrete visage with hues of orange and crimson. Among the seemingly endless maze of structures stood the Indianapolis Police Department, an aged monolith of law and order. Within its hollowed rooms, Detective James Jim Lowell sat hunched over a cluttered desk, his ash-blonde hair catching the light in an iridescent halo. A sense of obscurity clung to him, a quiet veil of mystery shrouding his youthful features. There was an odd dichotomy in his presence, an undeniable vibrancy of youth warring against a deep-seated stoicism, the latter an indelible imprint of a tragedy he'd survived. "Jim, any progress on the case?" Captain Mitchell's voice shattered the stillness, his gruff timbre echoing through the precinct. Jim didn't look up. Instead, his fingers danced over the scattered photographs and documents. His blue eyes, usually warm and inviting, were ice cold, locked onto a particular photo, the emblem of Vortex Technologies, an unfathomable corporation that stood at the center of the spate of kidnappings plaguing their city. "I'm making headway, Captain," Jim replied, his voice holding an ironclad determination. "There's a pattern. All victims have links to Vortex Technologies. Employees, consultants, contractors." Mitchell's brows knitted into a skeptical furrow. "You're saying the company's behind this?" He didn't respond immediately, the silence stretching between them like an unwelcome guest. "I'm not sure," he confessed, finally breaking the quietude. "It might not be the company itself, but someone or something inside it." Mitchell sighed, the weight of the unsolved cases visibly pressing upon him. "All right, Lowell, you're the lead on this, but tread carefully." The days that followed were a slow unraveling of uncertainties and secrets. As he delved deeper into the underbelly of Vortex Technologies, he met with reticent employees and elusive executives. The company, a titan of industry and innovation, began to reveal its undercurrents of darkness. Conversations, strained and obscure, hinted at clandestine operations beyond the company's outward facade of normalcy. His investigation led him to the heart of the city's industrial district. There, Vortex's monumental headquarters loomed like a silent predator, casting long, ominous shadows over the district. It was a spectacle of glass and steel that bore no warmth, no welcome. As night fell, he found himself standing before the imposing edifice. An inexplicable chill ran down his spine. It was as if the building itself were a sentinel, guarding secrets of unthinkable proportions. His gaze traced the towering structure, his keen eyes landing on an unlit section of the building. Something pulled at his intuition, an invisible thread woven into the dark tapestry of his investigation. Ignoring the quiet trepidation creeping into his heart, he decided to venture into the deserted premises. He didn't know then, but this act of audacity would steer his journey down an even darker path, beckoning him towards a reality he could scarcely comprehend. In the hushed tranquility of the deserted Vortex Technologies headquarters, Jim navigated the labyrinthine corridors like a specter. His footsteps echoed off the marble floors, the sound dancing up the skeletal structure of steel and glass. Shadows, tall and twisted, reached out from every corner, painted against the walls by the crescent moon's austere light. His heart pounded a rhythm of apprehension and thrill against his ribs, his every sense heightened in the solitude. His fingers brushed against the cold metal of a door handle, its icy touch causing an involuntary shiver to ripple across his skin. Pushing the door open, he stepped into a vast, cavernous chamber. It hummed with an inexplicable energy, the air charged with a faint electrical buzz. There, at the chamber's center, stood an artifact that seized his breath in his lungs. An obsidian monolith gleaming under the wan light. Runes, cryptic and alien, adorned its surface, a fluorescent glow pulsating from their depths. Overwhelmed by an urge he couldn't quite articulate, he reached out, his fingers mere inches from the etched symbols. The monolith seemed to beckon him, a silent siren call from a realm beyond comprehension. The moment his fingers grazed the stone, a surge of alien energy coursed through him. Reality seemed to ripple, warp, and then fracture. Images, too horrific and wondrous to articulate, swam before his eyes. Vast expanses of shadowy lands, populated by entities too monstrous to comprehend. The vision shook him to his core, a glimpse into a terrifying dimension that coexisted with their own. When the horrifying spectacle subsided, he was left trembling, sweat pooling at the nape of his neck. He withdrew his hand as if burned, the monolith's glow dimming to an innocuous hum. His mind whirred with questions, each more terrifying than the last. Was Vortex Technologies involved in something more sinister than mere corporate misdeeds? Were these the emissaries of the dark, hidden behind a facade of science and technology? Meanwhile, on the city's residential fringe, another drama unfolded. Lily Lowell, Jim's younger sister, stood in the kitchen, washing dishes. Her thoughts were on her brother, consumed by his latest case. She couldn't shake off the nagging worry, a cold dread that clung to her heart. The evening's serenity shattered when an otherworldly gust swept through the house, snuffing out the lights. A chilling silence descended, broken only by the eerie hum resonating from outside. She turned towards the window, her gaze drawn to a peculiar sight. A rippling, shadowy portal had materialized in their backyard, and from its depths, a dark figure emerged. In the aftermath of his encounter with the monolith, Jim was a man changed. His dreams echoed with alien landscapes and cosmic horrors, his waking hours fraught with an ominous sense of foreboding. His eyes, once portals to a soul of justice and resolve, now held a glimmer of primal fear, a testament to the horrors he had witnessed. His investigation, now more personal than ever, shifted gears after he received a chilling phone call. His sister Lily had disappeared, her house left in unsettling disarray, the air still heavy with an otherworldly hum. His heart twisted into knots, a wave of dread washing over him as he pieced together the horrifying truth. Lily was another victim of the enigmatic kidnappings, a sacrifice to the emissaries of the dark. His grief was tempered by the fire of determination. He would not stand idle, would not crumble under the weight of his nightmares. Instead, he immersed himself further into the intricate labyrinth of Vortex Technologies, his quest now a desperate race against time. As days melted into nights, he found an unlikely ally in Dr. Adeline Stern, an eccentric scientist with a penchant for the esoteric. Once a leading mind at Vortex Technologies, her abrupt departure from the company had raised eyebrows. Stern was a pariah, her reputation smeared by accusations of instability and delusion. Yet within her ramblings, Jim found unnerving parallels to his horrifying visions. "Our experiments," Dr. Stern confessed, her voice barely above a whisper, "tore through the veil that separates our realities. We weren't just pushing the boundaries of science. We were playing God, welcoming entities from a dimension that should have remained untouched." His heart pounded against his chest, his mind a vortex of despair and disbelief. "And the kidnapped victims?" he asked, the question hanging heavy in the charged air. "They were offerings, an appeasement to these beings for knowledge and power," Stern admitted, her eyes haunted with regrets and horror. The revelation was a gut punch, leaving him reeling with fury and desperation. The idea that Lily, his precious sister, was a mere pawn in a grand, horrifying game filled him with an icy dread. With Dr. Stern at his side, he ventured deeper into the maw of the unseen, the promise of a terrifying confrontation looming in the days to come. The world seemed to hold its breath as Jim Lowell and Dr. Adeline Stern stood before the cold edifice of Vortex Technologies, their silhouettes swallowed by the towering structure. The night was eerily quiet, the distant hum of the city a feeble whisper against the enormity of their impending confrontation. The sterile hallways echoed with their footfalls as they traversed the silent labyrinth, each turn a step closer to the heart of the nightmare. The hushed ticking of a clock was the only testament to the passage of time, its monotonous rhythm a stark contrast to the frenzy of thoughts within Jim's mind. His heart pounded against his chest, a wild rhythm of fear and determination. The obsidian monolith loomed in the chamber's center, its runic symbols glowing like malevolent eyes in the semi-darkness. It pulsed with an eldritch energy, a beacon of the terrors that lurked beyond the veil of reality. As they approached the monolith, Jim felt a sickening pull, a cold dread that churned his stomach. The air grew heavier, the very atmosphere pregnant with unseen horrors. Stern gave him a grim nod, her face pale but resolute. "To close the rift," she explained, "we need to disrupt the energy flow. These beings feed on fear, chaos, and fire." Jim's breath hitched at the mention of fire. His mind instantly pulled back to the inferno that had claimed his parents' lives. He felt the familiar sting of smoke in his eyes and heard the roar of flames consuming his childhood home. But this time, he didn't cower or flee. He used the memory, letting it fuel his determination, giving him the strength he needed for the confrontation. A horde of shadowy figures began to materialize, their formless bodies pulsating with an ominous energy. They were the emissaries, grotesque entities from the dark dimension. His fear was palpable, but he pushed it down, replacing it with the image of his sister, her smile the beacon that guided him through the darkness. With a defiant roar, he charged towards the monolith, an incendiary device clasped in his hand. He could feel the heat radiating off it, the flames dancing in anticipation. The memory of his past trauma transformed into a blazing torch, lighting his path. The ensuing explosion shattered the silence, a fiery defiance against the cosmic horrors. As the flames consumed the monolith, the shadowy figures shrieked, their formless bodies disintegrating into smoke. The pulsating energy waned, the ominous hum dying into a quiet whimper. The rift began to close, the link between the two dimensions severed by the brave act. In the aftermath, the chamber was once again a void, the silence deafening. His body ached, his heart pounded with exertion, but he felt a strange sense of tranquility. The haunting whispers of the emissaries had ceased, their dreadful presence expelled from their world. And then from the swirling smoke emerged figures, dazed and frightened but unmistakably human. Among them, he found Lily, her tear-streaked face lighting up at the sight of her brother. Their reunion was a poignant silence, their embrace saying what words could not. The tale of courage and horror, of love and sacrifice reached its end, leaving behind a silence that whispered of the unseen horrors and the heroes who dared to confront them. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it and subscribe to our channel, where you can find more similar stories, and click on the bell icon to never miss one. There is plenty more cosmic horror to come from the Eldritch Tales Factory. Stay tuned, and until next time.